Welcome back. Welcome back to the Kovacs Report. We've got another comic book review, which is Blue Palo Verde #1, out from Mad Cave, who are pumping out a lot of books. Not all of them are great. Some are hit and miss, but there are some gems out there, and I'm hoping this was going to be a gem. The cover just pulled me in, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through this book page by page. I'm going to give you my thoughts. We'll find out if it's any good. So before I do that, hit subscribe. Go on, do it right now. It would really help the channel, and I'd really appreciate it. And of course, at the end, if you like the video, give it a little like too. You know, won't say no to that. So it's Ray Fawkes writing and Rimanti on art duties. And I really like the art. Like I said, the art kind of pulled me in. Some pretty variant covers too. So we kick off in Tucson, and Christine Woods, after a 15-year stretch, is being released from prison. You can see that she's got tough while she's in there. She might have been tough before she went in there, but she looks a lot tougher on the way out. And she's gonna go home. Well, I say home. She's gonna go and find her father. So all she's got is an address. So she got an address from Promise, New Mexico. So she takes her trip down there. Before doing that, she goes to see an old friend, and the old friend says, "Hi. I've been looking after your car, but your car was a mess, so I trashed it. But guess what? Your dad's left you his pride and joy, his own car," which was unusual because she knows how much her father loved this car. But it's a flashy sports car. So off she pops. She drives down to New Mexico, to Promise, New Mexico, to try and track her dad down. Now, when she gets there, she notices there's a weird atmosphere in the town, but nothing too serious just yet. And of course, she bumps into the local cop, and he's like, "What are you doing here? What are you after? You know, I don't recognize you and everyone in this town." And she says, "Listen, I'm here to see my father, Jonathan Woods." And he notices on the letter it's addressed to the penitentiary. And of course, he does that usual cop thing, which says, "Listen, you know what? Make sure you're not here by the end of the night. In other words, get out of town. We don't like your kind round here," which is standard. You know, it's in all the movies. It's in a lot of these books. And usually it's because they just don't want them strangers walking around town, those criminals, right, doing whatever it is going to happen. So she's like, "All right, chill." And she notices that all the kids are acting funny too. They've got baskets of fruit, and they're always offering them up like a sacrifice to the parents. It's a bit strange, you know. And she finds out that there's a big event in the town that everyone's going to be at. So anyway, she continues her search, and she visits the psychiatrist, or rather the doctor of the town. And he's like, "Yeah, I know your dad, but listen, I'm not going to tell you where he is. What I'll do is you write him a note, right? And if he wants to talk to you, then he'll reach out," which is a bit annoying. So she's left with no choice. So you know what? She writes the note. But she says, "You know what is this event? This event that's going on later on, right? Well, I might as well go to that, because if everyone's going, maybe I'll see my dad there." And that's what happens. So she goes to this event, and again, it's really strange. Lots of these sort of sacrificial offerings of fruit and food being made. The children are dressed a certain way, flowers in their hair. It is altogether a little bit odd. But she sees her dad. She sees her dad receiving one of these gifts of food, and she's going to go, "Great, my dad's here," to run over. But before that happens, she noticed some weird horned mask wearing weirdo behind an altar sacrificing a bird, an eagle in fact. And she's like, "What the fuck is going on here?" Which I think we all would be, right? We're like, "What is going on here?" She's like, "This is strange. This is strange." But before she can get there, her father is drawn towards this weird, strangely dressed man. And she runs out and tries to wake him out of his sort of trance that he's in. And as he turns around and notices it's her, poof, he disappears. He just explodes, or rather dissipates into thousands of little petals and flowers. And she's like, "Where's he gone?" So she's badass ex-con, right? So she's like, turns around, like, "Well, who took him? Where'd he go? I want some damn answers." But before anything can happen, she gets absolutely suckered punched by the man with the weird mask. And it turns out to be obviously the sheriff. So do you know what? It was slightly predictable, but you know what? I really enjoyed it. Predictable in a good way. You know what? The art's nice. The story's unfolding. I'm hooked. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's going on. What's going on? Who is this guy? What are they doing? Why are all the town people weirded out? So I'm definitely on board. I think it's a pretty good book. I do like horror and supernatural stuff anyway, so that does help. But all in all, I think this is quite an interesting book, and I'm really hoping it goes somewhere good. So, Blue Palo Verde #1 is a definite recommend from me. Let me know what you think, okay? Because I've given you my thoughts. It's always good to hear what you think. And until the next video, subscribe and give us a little like. I really appreciate it. Take care for now.